So can you actually live in an RV for $2,000 a month? Today we're gonna find out. I'm amazed she let me do that intro, actually. The intro, so what the intro, it's not just about creative things you can do with money in slow motion. It's actually, I think there's like two camps of thought when it comes to money and RV living. There's the one side that says, oh my goodness, you're like just throwing your money away. And then there's the other side, I'm gonna save a ton of money by RVing. But that's what we're gonna look at today. Can you actually save a ton of money RVing? How much does it actually cost? And we have not introduced ourselves. You may be wondering who in the world we are. I'm Nathan.
I'm Marissa.
Less Junk, More Journey. We're in our 6th year of RVing, trying to have less junk so we can have more journey, and then along the way, being open and honest about that and how we can help you guys have less junk and more journey in your life as well. So if you're like us 6, 7 years ago, you're sitting there, you're watching the videos, you're wondering, man, that looks really awesome. I want to do that, but how much does it cost? Well, starting off, we were really confused because we had some serious sticker shock with our first RV campground situation.
We picked up our first RV. We were so excited. We had never even camped before when we decided to make this plunge for RV living. So this was all...
Or the How Not To channel.
Yeah.
For the most part.
This was all new to us. We picked up our first RV. We were so excited, and it was, you know, about 8 hours away. So we decided to get a campsite on the way home and try this thing. And we were like, oh, look, it's a Jellystone. That looks awesome.
Yeah, and we even talked to some locals before we went in, I think at a gas station.
And they're like,
you
go to the Jellystone.
It's awesome.
So we went, and we were definitely surprised at the price.
A little bit of sticker shock.
It was, and we thought, wow, this is exciting. Look at all these water slides. Look at all these putt-putt courses, fun things to do. But then we thought, how do people pay this price every single night? This is gonna add up fast. You know, you start going through the calculator in your mind at that point.
Well, I mean, it's $70 a night. And so I'm already doing the math. I'm like, we're not saving money by doing that. $70 a night. Like, we're just going to stay in our house.
And not to say you can't stay at a Jellystone. They are awesome. We love them. But we just couldn't stay at a Jellystone 365 days a year. So that was definitely a transition going from, okay, this is not a constant vacation. This is a lifestyle.
We're actually going to give you guys pretty specific numbers on what things can cost for what kind of lifestyle you're going to live. And we'll give you guys some numbers on our lifestyle for 2019 because 2020 just...
was a dumpster fire.
You know, like, the numbers are not accurate at all. It's just, it's a mess. Anyway, so the numbers are going to be from 2019.
I think they get it.
You get it. You get it. So a lot of this, they're 2019 numbers. But what I thought would be neat, so the video's talking about, can you live on $2K a month? So I'll talk about it, like, because we've known some people who are living on $2K a month, but we also know some people that are living on $4K a month, $5K a month. And we know some people kind of where we fall, probably in the middle, in that $3K, you know, the $2,500 to $3,500 a month range. Basically trying to take your current lifestyle in a house and saying, well, how does that transition into an RV? And I think the big thing, and definitely staying for this, we'll be talking about what is the most telling category. I think there's a category of these expenses that you can look at what you're spending in your life in a house. It's gonna translate really, really, really close to what you'll be spending on the road. And I think it can give you a big picture idea of how much you're gonna spend on the road. So before we really dig into these, 3 things that are kind of assumptions, because we all need to be on the same page on this stuff or these numbers don't even make sense. The first is the assumption that you have some money saved up. You're not hitting the road with nothing. You've got, I like to say, 3 to 6 months of expenses saved up. So once you do figure this stuff out and you've got a pretty good idea of what your expenses are, there's some money set aside for not if things will go wrong, for when things go wrong.
We highly recommend that you have an emergency fund before you hit the road.
It's an emergency fund, basically, is what that is. We're assuming, because if there's no emergency fund, these numbers are not accurate. You need to have more money set aside for different categories. Vehicle payments are not included in this because it could be all over the board based on what you bought, what your rate is. There was no way I felt like taking that out of these equations. So whatever you see, you're adding vehicle payments on top of that with the numbers we're going to share. And then thirdly, we're going to do the $3K a month lifestyle, then the $2K a month lifestyle. I know these are out of order, but I wanted to start with the $3K because I feel like it's going to be the most accurate as far as numbers for most of you. So the $3K first, the $2K, and then the $4K. So let me explain the $3K lifestyle a month first. Now when I say $3K lifestyle, there's months where it's $2,500. There's months, you know, if we're staying at our home base and expenses are down as far as lodging, it might be $2,500. There's months where it might be $3,500. We're in a very touristy area, lodging costs more, maybe we eat out a little more, that kind of thing. So it's like, it fluctuates in that range for the 3K lifestyle. For us at 3K, we like to do a lot of state and national parks, so we're not in Jellystones every night. And we look for county parks and city parks to save some money. But we do splurge on Jellystones, KOAs, Fort Wilderness. You know, we got these 1, 2, 3 weeks a year. We're like, again, almost like you're living in a house, it's vacation mode, where we go to those kind of places that are costing 50, 60, 80, 120, you know, crazy prices sometimes for these places. Sometimes we do eat out. Sometimes we do excursions. You know, when it comes to repairs, I think you got to factor that in on each of these levels. Sometimes I pay someone to do a repair. Sometimes I do the repair myself. So I think a lot of you guys fall in that boat where you can do some stuff on your own and save some money, but you know, you're not going to hire it all out. Now the numbers that go with that, splitting this up. Where's the pie? Yeah, let's get the pie. We need some pie. Okay. Because we love pie.
We have a pie chart.
And this is why our
literal
food budget
pie
blows
chart.
up. Yeah, this is a literal pie chart. She said I only get one shot at this, cutting it the right way.
No retakes.
All right, so I know 2 of these. All right, here we go. Woo! All right, I'm going to do the first 2 that are an even 25%. I'm going to start with the most telling 25% because I think it's a great place to start. So this 25%, what you're spending in a house on this 25%, this first one, this is killing me, is really close to what you're going to spend on the road in an RV. And that's very valuable. Put that down before I stab somebody.
This is a dangerous video we're creating today.
What you spend on this 25% in a house, it's really close to what you're going to spend in an RV. And why that is valuable is because you can go ahead and try to, if you look at these numbers, you're like, man, I don't think we can do it. You can start working on getting this number. So that 25% is what I'm going to categorize as food. But when I say food, because it's 25%, it's more than that. It's your groceries, it's your restaurants, and for us, just because it's easier to see what the money is and where it's going, that includes, like, if we're at a Walmart, we do a lot of Walmarts when we're traveling, just because it's easier and more familiar.
It's the most consistent.
It just is.
Yeah.
So what's on that belt may or may not be actual food, but toiletries, toilet paper, paper towels, all that lumps into here. And that's part of why that's 25%. For some of you, I think if you have a family of 4, 5, 6, it might be a little higher. Some of you, if you're a couple, it might be a little bit lower. But the point with this category is, let's say you look at your current home budget and you're like, we're spending, let's say $1,500 a month on all that stuff. But you're like, well, we want to get on the road and only spend $3,000 total. Well, I'm saying, I think it's really close to 25%. So if you're spending $1,500 a month on groceries, on restaurants, on toiletries, it's going to be tough to live on $3,000 a month. So the point is, it's not to freak out, but the point is that you can take that $1,500 a month and work on it. Like maybe eat out a little less, maybe it's fine. Maybe you're fine with doing $4,000 to $6,000 a month on the road. But I think the food one, quote food one, is really, really telling because it is easy, not just in a house, but on the road in an RV. It's super easy to start blowing money fast on restaurants, especially.
That's what we realized pretty quickly, and even talking to different people over the years, is what you spend on your groceries in a house pretty much goes over to what you're spending in an RV. I will say in the beginning, we probably spent a little more on restaurants because we were excited when we hit the road.
Again, vacation mode.
That vacation mode will get you. So
staying in the Jellystones, you're eating out like crazy, you know, it's vacation mode.
And we wanted, because that's part of the fun of travel is getting to try the different foods in the different locations. I think over the years we've learned we can still do that. We can't eat at all of them. So we would kind of pick maybe one thing to do in an area and try that food out.
So, I think if you're wanting to do the 3K a month lifestyle of national parks, doing stuff every once in a while, you're looking at that. $750 might be kind of low, but even like somewhere in that $750 to $900 range. Let me put the knife down again. That's not a good idea. But again, you want to keep it under $1,000 for sure, or the whole thing's just blown. I mean, you're nowhere near $3,000 a month or even $3,500 a month. You're in that $4,000 to $6,000 range at that point, which is fine. It's just we're being realistic on what can you do with what you live on. So the second piece of the pie, the other 25%, is lodging. So campsites. Now this is kind of neat because in a house, it smells so good. Put that down. Because in a house, it's actually flip-flop. The lodging in a house is like fixed. It is what it is for the most part. Your mortgage is the same, your insurance, your taxes. On the road, lodging, which is the next 25%, is your most flexible expense. Literally, I mean, there's months where we spend $900 to $1,000 on lodging, and then there's months where we spend like less than $200 on lodging. I mean, that's a big difference. Swing in lodging. So the good news is, if let's say you spent instead of $800 or $900 on food, you spent like $1,500 one month because you ate out a lot. Well, you've got the flexibility with RV living. You can stay somewhere cheaper, or maybe a Boondocker's Welcome and in Harvest Host, or maybe
even boondocking.
Boondocking. I mean, you take one of these cheaper options to make up for it, and you can kind of balance this out. Then you get the next 25 here. I know there's guys, you're out there technical, so that's not 25, Nathan. That's not an even cut. I'm really trying, and I'm putting this down. The next 25 would be like transportation. So that would include fuel. That would include vehicle insurance, your RV, your truck, your Class A and the towed and all that kind of stuff. That would include repairs to an extent. I think that's where the emergency fund comes in. Mm-hmm. You have the emergency fund, but I think it's still good to have some money going into repairs. Oh, and just to backtrack, because I said we're going to share some of our exact numbers. So in the lodging, we spent $4,936 for the year of 2019, which I think comes out per month like a little bit over $400. The budget was to get it like $750. So we're actually below on that. And we're probably a little worse when it comes, and you can see why. To the food. We're a little worse on the food. But
we'll sacrifice our living.
That's right.
For our food
I don't care.
Choices.
We'll boondock. We'll live in the desert. We don't care. Like, we want our pie. I mean, that's cool. It's RVing. It's up to you. So our numbers actually came down some as far as the lodging, and they're up some as far as the food. The third priorities, man. You got to. But the third section of 25% with the transportation, the numbers on that for us, fuel, $2,939, insurance, $1,080. This is for the whole year of 2019. So that's kind of on par. You're getting there. That's like, I don't know, 15-20% or something. But then you get to repairs, and this is where your emergency fund comes in. $12,420 in repairs in 2019, and that was our highest year in repairs I think we'd had in this 6 years. But we'd had some other years that were $5,000, $4,000, $6,000. So I think if you go into this thinking, oh, I'm going to spend $500 in repairs, even if it's new, I mean, you still might have or a warranty. I mean, there's still stuff that goes wrong. So you want that emergency fund. I'm just like backing up. It's actually split up a little bit on this last one. So we got connectivity, which would be like cell phones. I've got this at 5%. I think for most people, it's a really small piece of the pie. If you just got like 2 cell phones or something. Now, if you have a hotspot, we have 2 hotspots, 2 cell phones. I mean, we are like married to having decent connectivity. So our percentage would be a little more than that, but I think a lot of you guys, if you're hitting the road with 2 cell phones, somewhere around 5% on that 3K picture. And then you've got giving. That's a little bit bigger chunk. This might be accurate. Kind of close. It's
pretty good.
Giving for us 10%. These are like the easy categories really, because these are kind of fixed. I mean, your cell bill fixed. Giving 10% for us fixed. And then the last one, it can really fluctuate. That'd be like health insurance. I'm going to say that could be anywhere from 10% to 25%. But the good news is, people don't say good news with health insurance costs. But the good news is, once you know those health insurance costs, I mean, they're kind of fixed. I mean, yeah, they can vary a little bit from year to year, but it's not like the lodging that's just like up and down, or even the food. I think those 3 expenses that make up that last 25% are pretty fixed. And I know there's probably some small categories and stuff I'm leaving out. The big thing is to say, this is the $3K a month lifestyle. You can have some fun. You can go some places. You can do some things. Now, you can't do all the things.
There are some sacrifices that we have to make, but for the most part, it's actually us living our life comfortably. So I would say that that's been definitely a sweet spot for us in the RV living.
So that's $3K. If you backtrack a little bit to 2K, again, I did the 3K because I think 80% of you guys, that's going to apply to you the most. If you wanted to live on 2K RV living, I think you can still do it. We know people, it is possible. We know people have done it, but as far as the sacrifices you make to do it, for us, we have to give up too much pie. I can't keep more of the back of the pie.
When it comes to living the 2K a month lifestyle, some of the resources you can use is buying memberships to Thousand Trails or Boondockers Welcome, Harvest Host, camping, driveway surfing, doing a lot of those volunteer type situations where you can stay somewhere and use their resources, but you offer your time, or probably not going to move as much doing the memberships, but that's a lot of times how you can save more money is by not moving so much so fast. The longer you stay in an area, the cheaper it's going to be for the most part. So we've met a lot of people over the years that use these tactics, and they have an amazing time making wonderful family memories. And they really enjoy that experience. They enjoy, you know, the volunteering or work camping is also a great way where you can trade off your time and energy for having somewhere to stay.
And now there's some upfront expenses to make this cheaper. For instance, they may boondock a whole lot. And yeah, it's $2K a month, but you do have some upfront expenses, maybe with solar and batteries, that kind of thing. Thousand Trails, you get to stay, quote, for free. But you have some upfront expense with that, with the membership costs. Repairs on 2K as well. I think they probably do more repairs themselves to save money on that too. So if you're super handy, it's not a big deal to you what the groceries are. You don't care about doing fancy tourist trap type stuff that costs more. You're great with just going on a hike, things like that. You know, if a lot of that fits into your lifestyle, this money can come down. Again, the food is so revealing because if you already eat out a lot, you already buy the name brand things in your house, and all of a sudden you're like, well, we're gonna go live in an RV, which already has all these changes going on. And we're going to change the way we eat out, and we're going to change the way we do groceries. That's a lot of change. So there's 3K in the middle, there's 2K we backtrack to, and then 4K. So the 4K lifestyle, and you could call this a 5K, a 6K.
4K plus.
4K plus.
There you go.
There we go. And we've came close to 4K some years, and then some years we've actually been closer to the 2500K. 2500K, that's a lot of money. The 2500 range. But 4K, so you get the option to stay maybe at more Jellystones or do Fort Wilderness more, or nicer resorts.
More resort.
You know, you get the nice pool, you get the hot tub, you get the amenities that maybe you wouldn't get at some of these other places. As far as the campsites themselves, if you really just, you don't want to be pulling your RV through mud. You don't want to be spinning forever trying to get the thing level. You want level sites, maybe even paved sites as much, maybe something that has, you know, a patio area, or, you know, you get more of those options to have that lifestyle. And maybe you don't have to be as picky. Again, it's coming down to a lot of the lodging stuff. You don't have to be as picky about where you stay. You stay where you want to stay, and that's a relief to you at that, you know, at that price range. As far as excursions, same deal. You probably get to do more excursions. You get to eat out more often. I guess repairs too. Like you may not. Maybe you're like, I just hate repairs. Like, you can hire out repairs more. So I think as you get in that range, you get more of those things. But then the lifestyle just costs more. So can you RV full time on 2K a month? Absolutely.
It can be done. There will be a lot more sacrifice, or maybe there won't be if that's what you're used to in your home. It won't be as big of a transition. But if you live on way more than that, trying to get down to that 2K may be a struggle. So I think it's just being realistic with your lifestyle now and how that incorporates into the RV lifestyle. In RV living, there are sacrifices, no matter what range you're in. But I think the more you're willing to give some things up, the cheaper you can do this lifestyle.
Yeah, I think...
You've been dying to do that.
I've been dying. I want to take some whipped cream and just... I think the cool thing, we've talked about downsizing. You can practice downsizing now. I think you can practice a lot of this stuff now, especially the most telling category of food. You can go and start practicing that. You can go ahead and maybe set up some of the lodging and figuring out, hey, how do we like to do our lodging? Where do we like to stay? All these can be done. 2K, 3K, 4K. I think it's largely, a lot of it's just a mirror of your current lifestyle. You already live in your house. I'm almost taking out the food category here.
That sums it up.
That sums it up.
So thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next video.
See you guys.